The St. Bavo Cathedral is located in the centre of the beautiful city of Ghent in the Flemish region of Belgium. The cathedral is the seat of the Diocese of Ghent and was named after the Roman Catholic saint Bavo, who lived in Flanders in the 7th century. The cathedral is famous for housing the single most important work of early Netherlandish painting in existence, The Adoration of the Mystic Lamb by Hubert and Jan van Eyck. The altarpiece was completed in 1432 and is considered to be one of the world's finest treasures of art. In 2008, serious concerns about the state of conservation of the Ghent altarpiece emerged. Areas of flaking paint were indicated and made a conservation treatment of the 20 panels urgent. The polyptych is housed in a large, bulletproof glass box in which the climate conditions are highly inadequate. In order to assess the condition of the individual panel paintings, the altarpiece needed to be dismantled, a very precarious and precise task in the narrow glass box in the small villa chapel. The Ghent altarpiece is very important to the church and its thousands of visitors from all over the world. Therefore, it was decided that the public could witness the work from behind glass, while the team could work in situ. Two of the left-wing panels were stolen in 1934. These were the Just Judges and St. John the Baptist in Grisaille. The latter was recovered a few weeks later from a luggage room at a Brussels railway station. The panel of the Just Judges was never recovered. In 1939, a copy was made in order to keep the altarpiece complete. The dramatic theft was never solved and remains a mystery until today. The copy of the Just Judges will be examined and treated in the Royal Institute for Cultural Heritage in Brussels.
The Ghent altarpiece, the place in the cathedral, it was founded, well, the information we have now from a text on the outside of the panels leads us to think...
The urgent conservation interventions will be directed by Professor Anna van Grevenstein of the University of Amsterdam. An international team of panel experts has been invited. On the structural aspects of the panels, critical exchange of expertise is needed. Regarding conservation, as well as on the dismantling and reinstallation of the individual support panels of the polyptych.
But that's an old hole.
In 2008, 3 programs of the Getty Trust in Los Angeles, the Getty Foundation, the J. Paul Getty Museum, and the Getty Conservation Institute launched the Panel Paintings Initiative.
Yes, compared to other things.
The conservation of panel paintings requires not only very solid conservation knowledge, but also a very good understanding of the nature and the behavior of wood, and really good woodworking skills to be able to do sort of a responsible intervention. And that skills training to really get up to level to become a specialist takes many years. And the current experts are in their 50s, in their 60s, some have retired, and there's not a next generation in place to take over their responsibilities.
6 out of the 8 double-sided wing panels were split lengthwise in Berlin in 1894. After this dramatic intervention, the 12 individual panels were cradled and are now closely inspected by the International Panel Expert Team.
This panel has only shrunk maybe a millimetre or two because these are still virtually in line. So it is amazing that it's remained as stable. somebody's doing something right.
The Veit Chapel is located on the east side of the cathedral. Its patron, Joost Veit, and his wife, Elizabeth Borluut, commissioned the polyptych in the 15th century. Jan van Eyck completed the work which his brother Hubert began. This was where the altarpiece was originally installed.
As you also know from the publications of, well, both Van Asperen de Boer but also Elisabeth Danens, the hypothesis that the altarpiece was in a much more elevated situation.
In 1986, the altarpiece was relocated to another chapel in the cathedral. A 1:1 scale photocopy of the masterpiece in the Veit Chapel offers visitors a view of the original setting, including the size and lightfall. The altarpiece has a complex and sensational history. It survived many wars and restorations. After World War II, under the supervision of Paul Coremans, Albert Philippop worked for 2 years on the panels. Their findings and paint samples serve today as important data for the current interdisciplinary research project. In the Royal Institute for Cultural Heritage in Brussels, about 350 samples taken in the 1950s can be examined with state-of-the-art equipment, and the new data can be compared and analysed in order to determine conservation treatment protocols for the near future.
The paint flakes are just the normal craquelure. Then in the middle of it you have these little deep losses, which are old losses which were created by the varnish lifting. The varnish is actually pulling on the paint.
Helena de Bois examines the condition of the varnish, which is quite degraded. Dr. Pascal Frétieux performs dendrochronology on the panels in order to determine if panels used by Van Eyck were made from the wood stemming from the same trees. Dendrochronology is a useful component in the technical study of Netherlandish painting because almost all such paintings were executed on oak imported from the same climate region in the Baltic. Professor Ron Spronk coordinates the scientific research. Here he supervises the high-resolution digital macrophotography in visible, infrared and ultraviolet light. This will enable a much more precise study of painting technique and provide unique data on the condition of the paint film at craquelure level, as well as on underdrawing materials. The photographs are made in sequences. At the Vrije Universiteit Brussels, they are seamlessly stitched together in large composite images by Professor Ann Booms and her team.
Maybe the eyebrow? You see some difference there?
This results in unsurpassed image quality at unique levels of magnification and detail.
So also the registration in this case is done in an automatic way.
For the rendering of brocade, thin tinfoil was used in which the relief of the fabric was pressed. This foil was then glued on the surface, gilded and painted. The state of conservation and of earlier restorations is being assessed.
on va avec les roulettes contre le truc, ensemble. Ensemble.
The large horizontal shaped central panel in the lower section is called the Adoration of the Mystic Lamb. Although the panel had been restored in 1822 and 1978, its fundamental structural integrity largely remained intact. One of the leading experts on the team is Jean-Albert Glatigny, who has a lifelong experience in the treatment of structural issues of early Netherlandish and Flemish panel paintings. The current disassembly of this unique altarpiece is a rare and excellent opportunity to examine the panels by the international panel painting experts. This project also offers a unique training opportunity for junior panel conservators who will work as trainees in the examination and documentation of the panel supports. Several institutions are collaborating in this undertaking. Charisma is a consortium specializing in non-destructive instrumental analyses. They gather important data for the identification of materials that are present on the Ghent altarpiece, be it original materials applied by the Van Eyck brothers or later ones used by restorers. With a mobile X-ray diffraction device, the solid materials in the paint can be detected. Almost 9 months of intensive interdisciplinary research to assess the structural condition of the Ghent altarpiece has resulted in a valuable guiding principle for any future conservation and restoration treatment of this piece that is one of the most important surviving artworks in the world.